More than 2 centuries after his death, Thomas Paine is still famous. In 1775, the Founding Father wrote Common Sense, the pamphlet that argued that the 13 colonies should declare independence from Britain. Common Sense was a huge hit, and it galvanized common people in the colonies to really support the idea of American independence. In 1784, the state of New York gave Paine a 277-acre farm in New Rochelle as a thank you for his important role in America's founding. Just 3 years later, Paine left New York to spend time in England, his country of birth, as well as France, and he became an honorary French citizen in 1792. While he was in Europe, Paine wrote his ideas about government, sovereignty, and religion in Rights of Man and the Age of Reason, but his views ruffled some feathers. For one, his support of the French Revolution made him an enemy of England's pro-monarchy ruling class, and in France, his strong opposition to the death penalty angered members of the French Revolution, who were using guillotines to chop people's heads off. So Paine was arrested in France for treason and imprisoned, worried that at any moment he might be executed. Thankfully, James Monroe, then Minister to France and future 5th President of the United States, eventually worked to get Paine released from prison. While he was imprisoned, Paine was shocked and infuriated that his good friend George Washington didn't help him get out. Washington's refusal to help was likely for complex political reasons, including America's relationship with Britain. But there might have been another reason. So some backstory. Many in the US admired Paine for his role in spurring independence during the American Revolution, but they disliked him for his support of deism and rejection of traditional Christianity in his work The Age of Reason. Many Americans also disliked Paine for his letter to Washington, an angry letter he wrote to his former friend Washington, attacking his unwillingness to help his friend get out of prison, and accusing America's first president of being an incompetent, elitist hypocrite. In 1802, thanks to help from then-President Thomas Jefferson, Paine returned to the U.S. where he lived on his farm in New Rochelle. But when he tried to vote in an 1806 congressional election, he was turned away. Officials told him he could not vote because he was a French rather than American citizen. Paine was not only denied the right to vote, but voting officials threatened to arrest him if he didn't leave. Paine even went to court to try to get the right to vote, but long story short, he lost, and one of the most prominent figures associated with the American Revolution wasn't allowed to exercise his right to vote. Paine moved to Greenwich Village in New York City and died in poverty just a few years later in 1809. His funeral was not well attended. Only about half a dozen people showed up, a tragic end for a once influential and well-respected founding father.